worn rusty wheels and knew I'd take her home. I brought her to my farm in an Amish neighborhood where simple living's valued. She'd be loved and understood. I put her on a treadle stand and coaxed her wheel to turn. I felt her joy and easing with my study and concern. I cleaned her and I oiled her, showed her off to all my friends, repaired the hurts of years and let her sew again.
Hello everybody, welcome back. So I am going to be doing my best to do a restoration on this girl. This is a family heirloom machine for a customer, and you know, at first glance a lot of people might say, well, that's not even worth trying to fix, but with their sentimental value, it's definitely worth it. There's a lot going on here, a lot of rust. She is completely locked up. But here's the thing, I think that I can get the nasty off up here. And it's got this really cool Egyptian scarab beetle, you know, which was very popular at the time with the little cobras and everything. And I think at this point that I can save everything up here, okay? Down on the bed, I am not as hopeful. It just looks like it's too far gone in a lot of these spots. So my thought was, if I can save everything up on top, repaint just the base and put decals on the base. Now this is a Franklin machine, and I don't think that there are any decals out there available like this. At least I couldn't find anything when I was searching. So what was purchased is the Memphis decals for a Singer 27, which should fit down here. Because the Memphis decals, even though it's for a Singer, it is an Egyptian type motif, and it is a gold motif, so hopefully that will blend once this is repainted. That's the goal right now. You know, I'm going to need to tear into this and see exactly how it's going to work, because, you know, very rusty, just very rusty. So let me go ahead, and you know what, the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to be replacing all of this. You know, I just don't even want to dig into this. I'm going to put on a new quality motor and foot pedal. And so I'm just going to remove all of this and put it in the recycle, because I just don't feel like this is going to be savable for me. You know, someone else might want to rebuild this motor or something, but not me. I think I am good. Now, like I said, I haven't done one of these on the channel before, and I haven't done one, period, that has a motor. And here's what I'm seeing. It's got this belt that came with it. It's all cracked, but I'm just playing with some ideas here, because I was trying to figure out how this works. And, you know, this belt needs to drive over here. Okay, it needs to be over here also, and I'm wondering if it's supposed to stretch over both, and then if this, oh my gosh, it's not even going to tip. Usually these will tip back or like that to release the tension off of it. I'm just not too sure, but I'll play with that later. For right now, I'm just going to get all of this cut off. All right, so just looking around here. She is so rusted together. So here's the plate with the light on it. I'm going to be putting a different light on, so we're not going to worry about that. Here's her little Franklin plate. I think that's going to come pretty clean. Actually, let me try to take this front cover off if possible. That would be a good thing, so that, oh yay, that's working, that's working. But I know, like, the sliding plates down over the shuttle area and all, they are not going to come off. We're going to saturate it. I've got a couple different penetrating oils here. I'm going to put her into kind of a tub or a tray here so that if it drips all over the place, it'll be okay. And I'm just going to soak her with, penetrating oils and let her sit. Let her sit for a while, and then I'll come back and we'll just chisel away. So give me a minute to get my little tray set up. Okay, I got this loose, and I am thinking, right now that when I get the new motor, it's probably going to have a new bracket. I'm going to set this aside in case I need to reuse this bracket. But, and of course, saving this bolt because it's not really a standard sized one. I'm just going to pop it back in there so I don't lose it. But put this motor aside. Thank you for your service. You've been great, but it's time to go. So with that off, I am just wiping down the area just to get the main thick crusties off. And what I'm using is a 𝐭𝐤𝐤 hand wipe. And this is what they are. They are fabulous for cleaning hands and stuff. And I know that this is going to totally freak some people out, that I would have the audacity to use that on this machine, on decals no less. But here's the thing. There is so many layers of grime, nasties, shellac, and everything. And my goal is to be able to remove the old nasty shellac and clear coat over the part that I'm saving for later. So, I'm not going to get myself to hyperventilate about it or anything like that. This looks like a pin here that is holding bobbin winder on. Let me flip it over. This is a very heavy machine. No, it's a screw. Thank you. My little plastic tray is cracking already, so I think I need to get a metal one. But there is a little screw right over here where you cannot see that I need to take off to pull the whole bobbin winder off. Okay, so I need to tell you my little Chapman is doing very well on these nasty rusty screws. I am pleased for that big boss screw that was holding on the motor. It was a very wide Chapman bit that was able to pull that out with the ratchet. So pleased about that. All right, I think I have this screw. This is what it looks like. I'm just going to try to pull this off, okay? So this is not painted. It is just the polished steel, which is fabulous. I can probably get that really clean. So I'm just going to put this whole little component into one of my little baggies to keep it all together. Once I have it taken apart, then I'll go back through and clean all of my little individual screws and components and things like that. Okay, wow. Well, let's start with the needle. So I was able, with pliers, to loosen up this enough that I could pull off the rusty needle, which I am not keeping. That's going to go away. All right, let me see if I can undo this enough just to pull the whole little needle clamp off. That would be nice. Come on. There we go. Okay, so here's my little needle clamp. I have some rust remover that I'm probably going to end up just soaking a lot of my little parts in. This wire here is a thread guide. There's usually a screw that you can get at from the inside here. So let me flip her over and see if I can access that. She is a heavy girl, so this is going to be a good arm day kind of experience here. Change out my bit. I want to get a bit that is going to fit as completely and snugly into these very rusty little screws so that I don't damage them while I'm really fighting on them. So, all right, I put this on here. I'm trying to do this with the camera angle. All right. I did spray her down with penetrating oil all over. I didn't really let her sit, but she has been soaked. And I just used this. It's just the Schaefer penetrating oil just because it's what I had handy. Okay, so here's the thread guide. And the little screw, that is going to stay with the needle clamp and everything. While I'm here, I'm looking, there is no little screw right here, like on some Singers or something, that holds this in. So I'm thinking I can get the tension out from the front area. Oh my goodness. When I did try this one, you hear all that cracking? That's my tray. I gotta go get a metal tray. That's all there is to it. I have to do some errands today. I've got to take my dogs to the vet for a checkup and stuff. So I'm thinking I might just coat her and walk away and then like come back this afternoon or something and see if it's gotten any better. And that might be what I have to do for a lot of this machine. Okay, so anyway, back to the needle bar. All right, so I need to open up this clamp up here, but you see how nasty this is? I don't think there's any way I'll be able to slide this needle bar out as nasty as that is. So what I'm going to do is I need to change my Dremel tip here. Put a wire wheel on my Dremel and just come in here and try to clean all of this nasty off of the needle bar so that I can move it. Okay, so let's see here. Separate that out. If I can rotate this thing once I take these screws off, that'll be good. I'll clean this off too. Okay. All right, that looks a lot cleaner. I have a lot more hope that way. I will be cleaning everything, you know, later, but for right now, I just needed it clean enough. So we've got two screws here. This is the one that's holding the needle bar in place. This one out here is what's holding the clamp closed. I'm going to take the smaller one off first. Okay, put that in my little magnet dish and then come back here and get this one off. Okay, all right, moment of truth. Can we tap this out? It is moving. Okay, that's good. I'm going to have to prop up something under here and tap it, and the angles are totally wrong for doing it on camera. So give me a minute to get all of that, and I'll be back. Okay, so in case you're wondering what I'm doing, is I have a wooden piece here, and I'm hammering that so it can go up and not damage the wooden piece. And ta-da! Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. The needle bar is out. Okay, let me put all of my needle bar components together and we'll get started on the presser bar. Okay, let's see if I can open this. There. Just to take off the presser foot. Is a bit rusty, not gonna lie. Okay. There's my hammer. There she is. All right, let's see if we can tap the foot off. There it goes. Okay, so there's my rusty little foot. We'll see if I can get it clean. Part of me wants to replace it. Part of me wants to get rid of this thread cutter. But look at that, there's a little piece of thread behind it, so it was used, so I probably shouldn't. There's a little screw back here. It looks like it is what is propping up the thread cutter right here. So let me go ahead and get that taken off. Thread cutters are they just spell tetanus for me, but you know. Scissors are so handy and so easy to come by. Okay. All right, so here's that little screw. Right there, it is off. And now I'm going to try to tap that thread cutter down. Okay. Because it's basically a rusty little sharp blade, you know? So don't want to mess with that too much. All right. Now up here, inside of her nose, I've got a screw right here that I need to, oh my gosh, this lifter lever, it's rusted in place. Hang on a sec. Yeah, I don't even know. I'm going to go ahead and try to get this out here. Okay. Again, the little ratchet is working really well. Put that little set screw. I did not show it to you. It's just like this. Okay, little guy. That's going in my dish. I need to unscrew this little presser finial up here on the top. I'm going to use these. They have a good grip. I'm not going to run them around it, but honestly, it looks pretty worn anyway. Just turn and then replace. Okay. So, as long as remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and I think I'm going tighter. That's okay. I can loosen it up now. All right. So just give me a minute to untwist this. It's a very long piece. And there is, I can see there is a washer up there, so I need to make sure I don't lose that. Oh, wait, I think I am free enough. I can use my hand. That's good. Keeping my hand here in case that washer wants to fly off, because I've had to spend hours on the floor looking for one before. That's not fun. Okay. All right, so there you go. Let's see, can I push the spring through? No, I cannot. Technically, there's nothing now holding this in place but goo. So I'm going to get my wire wheel on my Dremel down here and clean up. Too many tools out. Try to clean this up down here so it's going to want to push through that hole a little bit better. Okay, so let me do that, and then I'm going to do like on the needle bar where I put the wood down here and tap it upwards. Well, I have been tapping for quite a while, and this is not moving, so, you know, I'm going to give it a coat of some happy juice for it and just, you know, let it sit for a bit while that is resting. Hey, look, this is free now. That's a good sign. That's a very good sign. Okay, let me see if I can get the little tension mechanism off here. I'll lay her back down. Okay, and if we look straight down here, I'm going to see if I can just, actually, I'm going to give happy juice there too. Okay, this is a big nut that I'm going to unscrew one little bit at a time because she is stiff. And these tension discs are on upside down. I have no idea how that was even working or what, but there's absolutely no way that this tension mechanism worked the way that they're set up. I'll show you in 1 second here. So this nut was screwed all the way down. So I'm guessing whoever had this and was playing with it last had taken the tension mechanism apart, and when they put it back together, it wasn't holding any tension, and they couldn't figure out how to make it do it, so they screwed it all the way down. And the reason it wasn't going to work is because the little curvy discs were not put in going the right direction. Okay, so if I pull this off, here is a nut, okay? The way I'm pulling it off is not how it goes back together, just letting you know. Here's a curved tension disc. See how it curves this way? This was put on outward. And then you have the beehive spring in between, which, you know, that which should not be in that spot. And then they have another smaller, poor people, whoever did this, I feel sorry for you because I've been there. When you're learning and you're trying to figure out how all this could possibly work, you try all kinds of ways. So I've been there. We've all been there. Okay, now the other tension disc, and now there's a big spring here, but I'm going to unscrew this little screw here that is attaching this little bracket to the machine first, if I can. Hang on a second. This little screw is so full of yuck. I need to clean out that slot before I can even put a screwdriver in there. Hang on. Okay, razor blade did it. So, let's try this again. There you go. Okay, so I'm pulling out this little screw right here, okay? And this little bracket's going to lift off. The thumb piece that's there, that sticks up away from the machine. It does not go that way, it goes back on this way. And when I put them on, I usually try to center this screw in that little slot, you know. Okay, now we need to try to get this pin out. And it looks like there is a little pin inside of here. She is stuck. So what I'm going to do is first, you know, spray more. I feel like I should not call it happy juice because that has connotations. But honestly, it makes the machine happy, so why not, you know? Okay, I'm putting the little nut back on top because I'm going to have to try to pry that around. And if I have my nut on there, it's going to keep it from wanting to spread open. So, there, I can put my screwdriver into the slot and hopefully we'll be able to loosen her up here. Trying to keep my head out of the way. So give me a minute to just keep doing this. It should unscrew, and when it does, this whole spring right there should come out with it. Okay. All right, so here it is. Spring looks a little bit sprung, but I think we can make it work. Okay. And this pin, is it going to come out? It's kind of rested into place. This little thing that's poking out there, that actually should come out, but it's probably rusted in there. I'm going to be soaking all of this in a rust remover, and I'm hoping that when that happens, all the rust inside of here is going to free up this little pin. But that's what we've got there. Let me put all of these in their own little baggie. Okay, this stuff up here did its job, so I can pull this plate off now. Just going to stick it in a little baggie also with its screw so I don't lose it. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and spray a lot of stuff in there because I'm going to need to be able to take a bunch of that off. Let's see if I can just wipe some of this off here for a minute. Okay, see this big screw? I'm going to need to be able to take that off so I can take off this lifter lever. And the whole main shaft, everything is locked up right now. And it makes it a lot easier to take these off when you can actually rotate the main shaft. But since I cannot, I'm going to go ahead and take these little lollipop hinges off here. If I can. I don't need those sticking out. I will clean them up so that they can use them when they remount her into her table back at home. But for right now, I don't need that sticking out. Okay, so we're back here looking at the back, and on my next segment of this restoration, we'll focus a lot more on cleaning. But I wanted to show you, there should be a big decal here, and I can see a hint of a decal here, but it is under so much grime that it's going to take some cleaning. But, you know, we're not going to give up yet. Do you see how dry it is in here? It is so rusty dry. That's got to be a big chunk of my problem. And I think I'm about ready to open a new can of this stuff. I don't want to pull my wheel off until after I get my shaft moving, because this at least gives me some leverage to try to turn it at this point. If I need to hook it up onto a drill later, I can, but there we go. I think something was blocked in there. But for right now, I'm just going to coat all of this, take a break, and I will be back shortly. Okay, I've just about got it out, so I turn the camera back on. It's a series of getting it up a little bit, pulling this little bracket down, pulling it up, pushing the bracket down. Okay, now that bracket is off, I can pull out this spring. Nasty. Pull off this washer up here. Nasty. And slide out presser bar and pull off this block here. Okay, so this block goes with it. Okay, so technically this piece goes with the needle bar. Okay, there's a bearing on here. I want to see if I can get off. But I am notorious for putting this on in the wrong order and then having to take things off, because this, even though it's part of the needle bar system, it has to go on before you put on your presser bar. So I'm going to put it with the presser bar stuff, just for my own sanity, okay? I don't feel this bearing moving. Is it going to pop off? I don't know. Let me leave that alone for a second. I'm going to take off this screw here for the lifter lever, this screw here. This is not even wanting to move. This is what this little Y piece, when the lifter lever raises, it pushes over here and releases the tension, or it's supposed to. It will. Okay, so let me just get those two screws off really quick and put these pieces into their own little baggies for safekeeping. Oh, this is another one of those screws that is so full of yuck. Just using my screwdriver head as like a chisel to get it out. Okay. All right, so let me get this off and bagged up, and I will be back shortly. Okay, so I've got those off. I'm flipping my little ratchet upside down because these are notoriously reverse threaded screws. So righty-tighty is actually righty-loosey for this screw. Okay, so I am going to pull this off. It looks like the bearing is going to come off with it. My magnet in there. Okay, so let's see here. It looks like, I'm not sure if it's crud or if it's just a single unit, but it looks like this is a single unit at this point. Okay, So I'm going to keep that with this piece because this bearing is what's going to slide in here, you know, once it's all cleaned off and it can move. So I'm going to keep all of that together, bag it up, and see if we can do a little work to try to free up the main shaft at this point. If I can't, then I'll disassemble more of the bottom, but honestly, this is such a mess that I kind of have it soaking. What I should do is at least detach this from my verticals so that they have a little more movement while I'm trying to free up the main shaft in case it's some of this stuff here that's holding it captive. All right, so underneath here, I'm using a little 3/8 inch wrench to loosen up this nut a bit, and I'm going to try to, it really should come off all the way before I start unscrewing this thing, and my ratchet wrench would not fit over the little space, so give me some time. I'm just going to sit over here and unscrew for a while, and then there's a big flathead screw on this side that I can pull out and separate this vertical from here. All right, I got the little nut off, but this is really, really rusty, so put some penetrating oil on it. Let it sit for a few minutes and then try it again. Right at this point, I'm wishing I had a vise or something that could hold this still where I could crank like that. And I could do it with the camera and all, but I don't think that's meant to be. So I'm going to turn off the camera so I can get straight on top of this and everything. And then once this one is off, I'll take this off too. Maybe this one is freer right now. Let's see. It's again, I need to, for this one I need to push down, so I'll need to flip it back up on its back. So give me a few minutes to take off this screw and this screw, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I ended up taking out this little clamp screw here and using a punch to tap from this side until I could get this open enough. And actually, after I took this screw out, I cleaned out that slot with a razor blade and sprayed more penetrating oil in there because this little collar here was just totally fused in there. So I think that is good now. So this shaft here is not attached to the bottom part at all. I need to get this one off too, and then once I have these two separate from the top, I can either finish taking off down here or work on getting that main shaft separated. I don't even know. Look, this is moving now. Okay, so all that oil I sprayed up there before, that's starting to help. So, because that wasn't even free enough to wiggle before, so that's good. Let me go ahead and get this one taken off. Okay, I want to show you for this screw here, okay? It's kind of tricky because, let me get this out of the way here. Okay, so there's this bracket, and this screw was on top, the big flat screw. There was a nut back here that I had to wedge my little wrench back there, balance everything, push really hard, and, you know, slowly unscrew it. And it did come off. You know, it's another one of these ones that was kind of welded in. Unfortunately, I think I dropped my little nut in here somewhere, so I gotta flip my machine over and shake and fish around with my magnet to try to find that nut. But at least both of these are separate now, so that's a good start. Now I gotta tell you the connectors for the front and the back. You know, one's on this side up here, one's back here. They look extremely similar. They're both eccentric. I don't know if it's different or not. So what I'm doing is on my little baggie, I wrote back on this one. I wrote front and the other. And that way I know that this little bolt and everything is going to go on the one that's on the back side back here, you know. That's just my little cheat that works for me. All right, so with that done, the question is, can I can turn the wheel now. Look at that, I'm turning the wheel. Okay, that is a very good sign. But here's the thing, I am turning the wheel here, but it's not turning up here. Okay, so that's not a good sign. Indeed. Okay. I'm turning the wheel and nothing inside of here is turning. Is there a clutch that is on this thing? Let me see. It felt like it was tight. See, now I have this little, sorry about that. I have this turned all the way forward, which is usually totally released. And if you turn it all the way back, that's usually engaged. I don't know. I just don't know. You know what? I am going to have to take a break because I need to run into town. I'm going to spray this down, spray more inside of here, up in the nose, let it sit, and when I come back, that is a problem for future Marie to tackle later. Okay, so welcome to the next day. I just came in here and took off the little screw. This unthreaded, this washer. This washer only has one little tab on it. That all came off, and I'm just going to pull this wheel off. Thankfully, it looks like it's coming really smooth. So I'm still not being able to turn the shaft, unfortunately. And so I am going to go ahead and pull off this screw here. I'm thinking if I do that, I can pull off this bushing, and then maybe I'll just manhandle the shaft until it's ready to be freed from whatever is holding it together in here. So let me go ahead and get this screw undone. Okay, so I pulled that screw out and cleaned out in this slot. I actually got a lot of grease and some thread out. There's another thread. But what I'm thinking is that this is rusted here. So I'm going to get my gear puller and try to pull this bushing off. And that will be my first step. My gear puller did not want to stay on there, so I am just wiggling it off with a pipe wrench. And I got the rag on there to try to keep my wrench from marring the end here. But look, it's getting there. It's getting there. Let me regroup here. Okay. So I'm just going to wiggle it off, and eventually this whole thing will pop off. Okay, so there it is. Okay, yeah. This at the end is a cap. For some reason, I was thinking that was the end of the shaft, but the shaft is over here. And so that's all good. Let me go ahead and get this bagged up. This is going to get, sanded down and polished and painted. And let me get a drill on here and see if I can get it to turn. Actually, before I do that, I need to get the stitch length stuff out of here. So the first thing is to remove this screw here. Let me get my big wrenches out of the way and I'll be right back. Okay, so it is unscrewing. A lot of this machine is like a Singer 127, or actually a Singer 27 with a winder on the bottom. This looks very similar. A little screw with a little 3-pronged washer. Okay, ooh, that is tight. I need to actually go get my wrench to get this started again so I can unscrew it a bit. Okay. She was just a bit tight, but now we are moving. And remember, I already disconnected this shaft down on the bottom, so I should be able to just wiggle all of this out. Looks like I am. Okay, so here is the fork, and there's a block in here, again looking very Singer-ish. Okay, so now that that is removed, I was not planning on taking this vertical shaft off because it's a basket, and You really can't take that off unless you take the whole main shaft out, which I didn't want to do. But I need to get, you can't see what I'm pointing at, I really need to get this off, but until I can turn this shaft, I don't know that I can. I might go ahead and just try to loosen that screw up a little bit before I start to really manhandle all of this. I am feeling like, see how tight this is right here where the shaft is going through all of this? I feel like it is just rusted together right there. And I did try, I gave it one good shot of getting this screw out, and it was not having any of that. So, you know what? I'm going to spray some more oil in here, and while that is setting, I'm going to take some of this off the bottom, try to take just about everything off, and then deal with this last. Okay, so underneath here, I'm taking off the other side of this shaft, and I'm going to find the little baggie that I put this screw in, just put this whole thing in there. Okay, it's terrible. I cannot get these plates out. They are rusted shut. I have tapped them, hammered them. They're not coming out. And that's frustrating to me. It really is. Anyway, let me go ahead and get these pivot screws out here so I can remove this shaft and we'll be one step closer. Okay, so these are like a Singer 9/16 inch nut on the end down here. Okay, so there you go, plenty rusty. Let me go ahead and take this one off here also. Whoopsie, flip this around. Okay. Whoops. I got the nut off, but the screw is still stuck. Let me get a big flat screwdriver in here. Oh, that almost broke my bit. Actually, I think it did break a tiny bit off of my bit, but that's okay. We are still in business. Okay, so the other point, and oh, I forgot to take, well, I need to take the feed dogs, couldn't remember the word, feed dogs off. I can't get that top plate off. So I think if I just pull the screw off and leave those feed dogs dangling there. All right. Okay, so there they are. They're just kind of permanently, oh no, this is a separate piece. It's just a, see this? This is just kind of rusted in place. Here's the thing. Yeah, I'm getting it apart, but I really am feeling like in order to make this thing work again, I've got to deal with this. It's just, it is locked, and I'm going to have to think about it. See if there's a way I can get around throwing it in the tank. Because here's, I know if I put this into my electrolysis tank, it does an amazing job pulling off rust and everything like that, which is really what this machine needs. I'm going to have to make a phone call. Okay, welcome to the next day. I talked to the owners on the phone last night. They really want to keep these original decals. So I came back up here and soaked this thing in penetrating oil. In here, in there, everywhere. Then this morning, came back, heated it up with my torch, added more oil, got my really, really strong punch because there's a hole in the shaft here. And I have been just in here wailing on it. And look, it is free. It is free. I am going to go ahead and hook up my drill to this and let it spin out so it can totally free up. And then we're going to work on the bottom. So I've got my drill on there with the zip tie just to hold it. and we're just going to let it spin out for a while. Okay? And while that's going on, what I wanted to show you is I am taking just one component at a time. This is my lifter lever stuff here. Soak it in my little pot of Evaporest, however long it needs. Honestly, it needed about 12 hours. So soaking it in there, and then when it comes out, you rinse it out in water, and I need to get some new rinse water here. Come out of here, dry it completely. I'll use my little heat gun to dry it. Probably just put a light coating of oil on it so it won't want to flash rust before I get a chance to reinstall it, and then go on to the next part. So this is going to take a while because there was a lot of rust on that machine, but it is coming. It is going to come out. So anyhow, that's the process. Okay, I just took it off the drill, and look, it's like butter. I tell you, it's like butter, and it's moving. It's all over the place. It's great. This movement will get cinched in when I put all this stuff back on with the bushing and everything. But very pleased with that. I still need to deal with this girl up here. I'm going to need to get a boatload of leverage there. I'm going to throw some more oil and heat on that while I'm working on my rusty parts over there, and I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I was able to get this off. Yay! So now I need to just wiggle. Oh, okay. I need to just wiggle this out. It's kind of stuck. All right, so part two. Let me turn. I'm kind of rotating the shaft and wiggling at the same time. These can be kind of a pain. Let me prop her up and do some more wiggling and see how I can get her out of here. Okay, there you go. She is backed out. So there's a little bearing on here that obviously needs to get cleaned really well. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to leave the main shaft in, but I was concerned about if I could get in here and get the rust out. Shut her off for a minute. And so that was my deciding point, and I have decided I can get the rust out of there. So she is so coated in penetrating oil right now. It's amazing. But, you know, with the little narrow wire brush, I'm able to get in here and just spin it around and get all kinds of clean, and then come back, and when I'm ready to actually make her pretty, I'll clean it up really well. But at this point, I'm just worried about getting movement and getting rust that's in the movable parts contained. And I think that I'm going to be able to do that. Down here, I'm also able to get in here and deal with all of this area. So I think that's fine. I still need to take this off, and I cannot deal with this until I get these plates off. So give me a minute to get reorganized here, and we're going to tackle those guys. All right, so these guys down here, I am going to be repainting the bed. Okay, I have some decals and everything for that. These plates are so rusted in place. I have heated and lubricated and tapped and heated. So this paint right here, it's toast. And what I have found with this machine is that it's extremely similar to a Singer 27 or 127. And I have a part 27 that I pulled some plates off, and yeah, they look terrible, but I can polish them up. And they should fit on here because this is just rust. It's completely eaten through. They're not polishable. And so what I'm thinking is there's a very good chance that these are damaged beyond repair at this point, because I can already tell that there's some issues. So anyhow, give me a while. This is going to take a lot of patience to get these guys out, and I will let you know how it goes. Okay, so I got the front one off, and she is pretty toast. I think I'm going to recommend just buying new plates. You can get new slide plates off of several sites, and eBay and Amazon and sewing carts online type places and stuff. So I think I'm going to recommend that. I'm just going to get the back one off here. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Just because she does plan on sewing on this, and you want these to be as smooth and trouble-free as possible. So I'll polish these up the best I can and return them, but I think new ones is going to be the answer. Okay, so with those out of the way, there is a shuttle in here. It doesn't look like the lifter lever is working, so when I take it apart, I'll look at that. These are pretty nasty. I might look how rusty that is. If there's rust in pitting, every time the thread pulls against it, it's going to snag. I'm going to double check and see if this is the same size as a 27 shuttle, and if it is, these are also available really easily. And just because it is so rusty, it would be very hard to get this perfectly smooth, you know, especially on the inside, and you really need that to be super smooth so that your thread can pull out and not snag, because then it's tension issues that you will never get rid of. So just going to set that aside. I need to try to get this screw out. It's a pain because you can't get straight into it because this is like slightly in the way. It is kind of glued into place. So give me a moment. I need to hold my mouth right and try to get it off. Okay, I've got her turning, and the key to me was penetrating oil and heat from the front. Flip it over to where you can see the back of the screw come through. Again, penetrating oil and a lot of heat from the back. And again, I am going to be painting the bottom, so I'm not worried about the finish down here. Don't use this if you're trying to preserve your paint, because heat is a paint remover, okay? But it's off now, and if we do get a new set of plates, sometimes they'll come with a circle. This one actually isn't that bad, so I think that this one is actually good. This is good. I'm going to say we're going to get the two outside ones, but let me put this in my little magnet dish here. We are down to the final countdown here, and so what I need to do, this screw, when I tried it last time, it was not happy with me, so I'm gonna see if I can get it free to pull off this little shuttle carrier. Okay, I put my hammer in there just to keep it so that I could get some leverage against it, you know, with the ratchety handle here on the Chapman. Love that. And that was enough that I could crack that screw open. So now I should be able to unscrew it. It's very nasty. A lot of these screws I had to totally, well, it's not going to come out there. I had to totally clean out with a razor blade before. You know what? I'm going to put this back in here because she is not behaving. Okay. There we go. So if I can get this off, so flathead screw here, I should be able to pop this off. Very rusty testy. Well, it's a little bit loose. Okay, come on, almost there, almost there. Let me get it from the front. There we go. So here this is. That needs a lot of cleaning, but I'm just going to keep it with it screwed together in a baggie for right now so I don't lose it. Okay, at this point, the only thing I have left is I need to get this part off because I am going to be repainting down here, and that would be nice. That would be really nice. So there's a tiny screw in here. There's a couple screws in the back there that act kind of like a clamp, but my first step is to get this little screw, which should pull it off. It's like a ring. Here's a little shaft here. So once I get that off, I should be able to pull this off once I loosen those up. So the trick though that I've run into in the past is this is a very, very tiny screw head, which means you need a very, very delicate bit. And most of the very, very delicate bits do not like dealing with very, very rusty parts. So I'm going to do what I can, and we'll just see how it goes. So before I got started, I cleaned off this area with my little wire brush on my Dremel, and then I'm picking it out with my pick here. I'm going to spray some more penetrating oil in there. I might even heat it up if it shows signs of struggle. So I'm going to try it first. If it doesn't come easily, I'll heat it up. I think that it heard my threats because it is turning out. So that's fabulous. Always love it when things are agreeable here. I'm not sure how long this screw is. I think I have it undone. It's just kind of resting there. Let me see if the magnet will lift it out. Will it? No, I have to keep unscrewing apparently. Okay, give me a minute. I wasn't turning it. I was just turning crud. So I'm going to heat her up plenty hot. Add more oil to it. Let that heat draw the oil in. And that's probably good. See how it kind of wants to bubble up there? Hopefully it's going to draw it in. Let me give it just, a minute or so to think about itself, and then I'll try it again. And I think that's all it needed because the little screw is coming out now, very hot. Just a tiny little set screw, so I'm going to put that over in my magnet so I don't lose it. That is still hot. So let me see if I can wiggle it off. Can I wiggle you off? Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. No, let's unscrew it. That might work, huh? Yep, it's a threaded one. Okay. So here's my threaded cap, putting with that little set screw. And I need to undo these two little screws there that you cannot see. Get those off so I can pull this part off. Okay, so I got those out. And now this comes off. Lovely. I'm probably going to leave this shaft in. I just wanted to be able to clean up everything around it. I can just mask this off. Okay, I've decided to leave it in. It's set. It would be really easy to damage either the threads or up here where these metal on metal bearing type of locations are. So I'm just going to leave it. I can mask around it. So with that, this is as deconstructed as this machine is going to get. At this point, I need to do a boatload of cleaning up here. Once this is clean, then I'll mask this off, this part off, so I can, do a number to strip the bottom here, and then we'll repaint it. But that'll be another video for another day. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you next time.